In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, Public Accounts Committee recommends prosecution of 12 entities, including Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and Ridge Hospital, for failing to comply with the committee's directive to fully recover amounts highlighted in the Auditor-General Report within 30 days.
Komfo Anokye, you have on end salary of 3 million and you will not respond or get anything. Maybe they would like to enjoy sitting in court, but I will recommend all of them for prosecution.
More as Education Ministry moves to amend the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission Act to halt GTEC's plans to shut down universities operating without presidential charter.
Because the challenge is how many students are there with a public tertiary education. So standards will not be compromised, but I think that we should allow them time and space to justify.
Also tonight, Lightwave E-Healthcare Solutions Limited fights Health Ministry over claims its servers are situated abroad, insisting the minister's claims are false.
I'm speaking for your information. The server doesn't even sit in Ghana. It's far away in India.
And you are saying that that centralized server is in the Ministry of Health building on the first floor?
Yes.
And then every facility has their localized
Every facility have their localized service.
Business Ghana City appreciates by almost 14% for the month of October as it continues to respond positively to market interventions by the Bank of Ghana.
And in sports, Ghanaian clubs have a long way to go in order to rub shoulders with the continent's best, and that's according to the head of PR for the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana.
I want to join us with your views and comments all here on Newsnight 055-1111-997. We have details after this. And you're so live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. And later, Ghana Journalists Association registers strong objection to proposed misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and publication of other information bill as it demands extension of period for submission of memoranda.
The GJA therefore demands a further extension of the deadline for submitting input to allow for a broad-based, inclusive, and meaningful national dialogue that has the buy-in of all key stakeholders.
We hear from the GJA Plus President Mahama is pushing for the creation of a new West African security platform to collaborate with Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger in addressing violent extremism.
The Accra Initiative was set up as a platform for our joint fight against violent extremism in the West African sub-region. Currently, the AES states are not participating in the Accra Initiative. And so what I've been engaged with is seeking a new platform.
But first, I want to take you to Parliament, where the Public Accounts Committee has referred 12 entities to the Attorney General for prosecution for disobeying the committee's directive to fully recover amounts captured in various infractions in the Auditor-General Report. The entities include the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital, Ridge Hospital, and others. Now, listen to the Assistant Auditor General at the Ghana Audit Service, Michael Addo, who gave an update to the committee on which institutions have failed to retrieve the funds.
In respect of Achimota Hospital, they had unsupported payments to the tune of 62,360, and they were given 48 hours to provide the supporting documents. As we speak, they have done so. The documents have been provided, and we have verified them. Then there was an issue of payment of on-end salaries to the tune of 3,588,050 cedis. That infraction was cited in the name of Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. They were given 30 days to provide documents as to the existence of these staff. But as we speak, that evidence is yet to be provided. Kwewu Afram Plains North District Education Service, wrongful payment of physically challenged transport allowance, 17,703. That is also pending. They have not recovered the amount. The last one has to do with a Greater Accra Regional Hospital, that is the Ridge Hospital. The issue had to do with rejected claims, and the amount was 1,293,090 cedis. So that is the state of these issues.
Well, James Aveji was in Parliament for us today and joins us on the line right now. James, what was the reaction of members of the committee to this? Hello, James.
Well, Evans, the committee was not in the least happy. Yes, Evans, I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Evans, I was saying that the committee was not in the least happy with the development. In fact, just so you know, there were about 13 entities involved in this development, and they were given between 48 hours to 30 days to, come clean on some of this infraction. And out of that, we're hearing today that only Achimota Hospital has been able to spirit that the ranking member on the committee, Honorable Samuel Atamels, said there is no other window for them to redeem themselves and that they should all be referred to the Attorney General for prosecution.
Those who hadn't completed their assignment in 30 days, did any of them consult you on it? Did they come back to you on why they hadn't done it? Perfect. All right. I would recommend those people who haven't responded or done it within 30 days. I'll recommend all of them to the Attorney General for prosecution. It's just that simple. Komfo Anokye, you have on end salary of 3 million and you will not respond or get anything. Regional Health, is it Aguna East, Tier 2 contributions. You haven't responded. Amansi South. All these people, we are recommending them for prosecution. And it's just that simple. We'll wait on those who have 60 days and 90 days. Maybe they would like to enjoy sitting in court, but I'll recommend all of them for prosecution.
And James, aside this particular story, I know before the Public Accounts Committee, we often get to see and hear the extent of rot that the Auditor General is uncovering. What else have we been learning today?
Well, Evans, a number of other institutions, including ministries, have been appearing before the committee, and amongst them is the Communications Ministry. A number of issues have come up, particularly about this whole move by the Ministry of Health to, roll out the rest of the hospitals that have been in this Lightwave issue that has been coming up in the last few days. The Minister of Health indicated that the government want to take over putting the rest of the 500 hospitals on the system that will help them coordinate with each other. The minister said they have been approached by the health ministry, and the initial proposal was that they lease this work to a private entity, but he has indicated clearly to the health ministry that they will not engage any third party in this. And so the Ministry for Communications and Digitalization says they will take up this project and offer on behalf of the people of Ghana so that we do not experience what we have seen in the last few days between Lightwave and the Ministry of Health, Evans.
And the Education Minister was also before PAC?
Exactly, Evans. He was the first to sit before the committee, and the issue about GTEC's move to shut down some schools came up. In fact, in accordance with the GTEC's own act, every school that needs to operate as an autonomous entity needed to get what we call the presidential charter. Failure of that, they need to affiliate with some other universities who are under this charter and issue their certificates under them. You'll recall that in February last year, GTEC indicated that about 77 private universities have not acquired this presidential charter. That was when they threatened to shut them down. But the minister, in answering questions this morning before the committee, said he believed that this threat, if carried out, would do our educational system more harm than good. Reason he's exploring more options, including reviewing this act to give them more than the 4 to 6 years to acquire this charter.
It's Supposing, for instance, you are providing higher education in biology and you don't have a laboratory or chemistry or physics, then GTEC is not likely to support you to undertake that activity. So in the law which was passed by Parliament and Chairperson, if we did that, apart from the students who will be affected, Ghanaians in the private sector who are church-related institutions, whether it's the Catholic Church or is the Pentecost Church or the Presbyterian Church, which is providing higher legislation, but not to perpetuate it. It won't be forever and ever. Then you keep saying that, give me more time. It cannot be. But at least let's give them some time, because the challenge is how many students are there with a public tertiary education. So standards will not be compromised, but I think that we should allow them time and space to justify their expenditure and the training they are providing. Thank you.
And did we get any more clarity, James, on GTEC's crackdown on people using unearned academic titles?
Of course, Evans, the minister said beyond the reports that have come public, there are still a number of them coming before the GTEC, which the governing council is looking into. But he has indicated that GTEC has the ministry's full backing in delivering on this constitutional mandate of crackdown.
Chairman, this matter is being thoroughly looked at. The Director General of GTEC is acting in accordance with his mandate and the law, and recognizes that whoever is affected by it will be pronounced as he is doing. A number of it will refer to council, and they are looking at it. I'm awaiting a report from the GTEC council for a briefing. Then I'll come back to this house if you so desire.
I want to bring in Dr. Peter Ante, is Education Director of the Institute for Education Studies, joins us on Zoom right now. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. On that subject of the charter and GTEC's decision to shut those schools down, we just had a minister say that he's going to give them a lifeline for them to rectify. But what do you stand on this? Do you believe GTEC should simply go ahead and shut them down because the charter, does it have consequences for quality? Hello, Dr. Peter Ante, please unmute for me.
I think, hello, good evening. Thank you, Evans. I think the minister is being progressive. There are a lot of students who are going to be affected by the decision of GTEC to shut down these universities. And I think that the minister's approach is progressive. Yes, there is a need for the universities to meet certain, the private universities to meet certain standards before they can continue to operate. But then these universities do not operate in a vacuum. They are providing a specific service that are very crucial to the education sector. We should have at the back of our minds that there are a lot of students who are going through the secondary education system who would need to access tertiary education. At the same time, as a country, our strategic focus is to reach a tertiary education enrollment ratio of 40% by 2030. We can't do this with only the public universities. We need the private universities to also be up and doing. And therefore, any kind of assistance, any kind of support that the state can give these private universities to be able to meet the set standards for them to continue to deliver quality education for the other number of students who will not be able to access the public university system should be commended. And I think the minister's approach for me is progressive.
But what about the implication of not having a charter? The minister wants to give them a lifeline, but these institutions should have known that they needed that to operate fully.
Exactly. So that is why I think that there should be a timeline giving them to ensure that they are able to meet the set standards. And I also think that although people might think that this might have a certain kind of impact on the delivery of education, quality education in these universities, there should be certain kind of monitoring mechanisms that should be put in place by the ministry. So this shouldn't be just a word by mouth by the minister. He should move a step further to put in certain mechanisms to ensure that these private universities follow through build up their capacity and provide whatever it is that they need to provide to be able to reach the set standards that have been set by GTEC. So I'm expecting the minister to have this kind of implementation plan to what he's proposing to enable these private universities meet these set standards.
Dr. Peter Anti, thank you very much. He's Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. Well, tonight, Lightwave E-Healthcare Solutions Limited, managers of the electronic healthcare system used to digitize patient records in public hospitals. They are fighting the Ministry of Health over recent claims their servers are situated in India. Listen to the Health Minister make the claims.
Mr. Speaker, the vendor again indicated that we should write as part of the contract that we, the ministry, have verified 461 instead of 450. Mr. Speaker, there and then, as ministry, we had to put our heads together to find solution to the matter than lamenting. Mr. Speaker, so, honorable members, the good news is that I've shared with you the challenges we have inherited, where the medical records, the electronic medical records, was being hosted by an individual, where the country didn't have access to our service. But at the moment, Mr. Speaker, we have the solution, and we are rolling out in the whole country. We have a 4-week plan. In the first 1 week, next week, we are rolling more than 100 facilities. The third week, more than 100 facilities. And, Mr. Speaker, I can assure you, with the shortest possible time, we'll get all these 450 facilities covered. Mr. Speaker, what this vendor was doing to the state was that as and when he demands what, then he will switch the thing off. And Mr. Speaker, for your information, the server doesn't even sit in Ghana. It's far away in India. Yes, far away in India. Mr. Speaker, we are religiously guided by this contract, and we'll put in place the necessary solutions so that we'll prevent the reoccurrence of the mess we have inherited. Mr. Speaker.
Well, the company in question, they've been fighting back today. Speaking to my colleague, Kodoyang Singh, Senior Project Manager at Lightwave E-Healthcare Solutions, Anokye, described the claims as false, insisting the servers were hosted at the Health Ministry building.
This with the facilities.
So, do you own servers in India?
Oh, no. No. We don't own any server outside of this country. Outside the borders of this country, we don't have any server sitting in it.
Because you are being accused of holding this data in a server in India, out of the reach of the government of Ghana, the people of Ghana, who actually, as you confirm, are the owners of this data.
It baffles me when I hear this, because I wish there was anyone mentioning this as an evidence that Lightwave has some data sitting in India. Any form of evidence to show that we have any server seated outside of the country. I'm not limiting it to only India. If we have any of our activities seated, they can bring an evidence.
But Lightwave has an American, in fact, it was originally an American company. And you are saying that that centralized server is in the Ministry of Health building on the first floor?
Yes.
And then every facility has their localized
Every facility
service.
have their localized service.
All right. We are also told by the minister that you have been paid $75 million on a $100 million contract. So about 75% of the money has been paid to your company.
Yeah.
But out of 950 hospitals that you were supposed to connect, you have only connected 450, which is less than half. Yeah. So how have you done less than half of the work, but you've been paid 3/4 of the money?
Yeah, I think this is another untrue or a misconception or a deliberate act of not telling the populace of Ghana the right information. Because, yes, we were supposed to do 950 facilities, and we have completed them.
Well, he said more, including that the ministry's accusation that they are conducting an audit of their work is one that went ahead at health facilities without their prior knowledge.
If your media team would go to any hospital that is running, any hospital, and you ask them to give you, that is using the Lightwave and they are working, and ask them to give you your medical records, and they tell you they are unable to, let us know, because it's there. They do it every time. So I don't know which data the minister refers to. If it is about the source code, which came up in the meeting we had on September 3rd, that is Lightwave intellectual property. It does not belong to the ministry or the government of Ghana. But the data that the system used, the data that the system used in collecting, that data is for the ministry and for the government of Ghana. And if you are talking of the back end and you come and say you want the source code, meaning if you push Lightwave out with that information or that source code that you have, you'll be able to deploy the Lightwave system in other facilities. But that is not part of the ministry's agreement that we signed with them.
Let me bring in Tony Goodman. He speaks for the Health Ministry, joins us right now. Tony, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. We just heard the executive of Lightwave tell us that first, this accusation that the servers were hosted in India and that one individual was in charge of it, and the fear that was created that our health records were sitting in another country with one person controlling it and seeing everything. He says it's completely false, and that server was sitting at the Health Ministry. Have you verified that?
Good evening to our listeners. That's not correct. We even had a meeting today with the technical officers, including those who were on the project today. And they told us again that they don't have access to the servers, they don't have access to the data, and what they are referring to is called a backup server, which is actually not the server hosting the data. We have said, and we will continuously say, that the server is not in the ministry. We don't have access. Our technical officers do not have data. They don't have access. They have no control over the system that was running. So this is not true. This is a fact, and we've put this fact out there. What is important is for the people of this country to know that we are currently reconstructing data. If we have the data, why should we be doing reconstruction? It's because we don't have it.
Let me clarify something. So there is a server itself and there's a backup server, correct?
That's correct.
Where is the server itself and where is the backup server? Are they all in India?
The backup server is mostly what we call the on-site server at the various facilities. We have another information even from NITA saying that those servers are just there. They are not storing anything. They cannot be used for anything. The original server, the mother server for the project, is not in this country and is not in the Ministry of Health.
And these backup servers in the various facilities, they do not have the information required to populate this additional system, this new system you're introducing?
No, what we are currently doing is we have also run some assessment of what is currently in the hospital to see if possibly we can run the current software on. So, and we were told that these are even about expiring, and we have to be careful how we're going to run this new system on. So there are a lot of things currently ongoing. We are still assessing to see whether we can even use them. But as we speak, NITA, the national, the institution in charge of this nationally, has gone through and have realized that these are just items sitting there. You cannot use them for anything.
The minister also alleges that Lightwave has been paid monies for work not done. If that is indeed the case, they've actually denied that, by the way. When are we going to see action in terms of possible prosecution on the matter?
We have put the fact out there. We have met various state institutions and have given them this information. The state institutions responsible for these will also take it up. Our mandate at this point is to make sure that the people of this country go to hospital and do not face any hitch, do not face any glitch. They are able to access quality of care. That is what we are currently doing. The other aspects, be it prosecution, be it corruption or whatever, the various institutions responsible for these issues would take it up. But we are dealing with what we have to deal with.
The problems that the hospitals were facing over the last few weeks, where are you in resolving that? I know the National Health Insurance Authority boss, for example, went around some of the hospitals, saw the problem firsthand. What's the update on that on the ground?
Yeah, so we are currently using the short code, which is the old system to verify members of the health insurance scheme. We have begun the rolling out of the new system, which is the Ghana Health Information Management System across the country. We are live today in most of the facilities. We hope that very soon all the hospitals, at least the 450 hospitals, will be activated on this system, and then we would phase out these problems we are currently going through. So this is where we are on this.
Tony Goodman, thank you very much. He speaks for the Health Ministry. So live here on Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. If you've been to the hospital recently and have experienced the challenges that others have, share your experience with us. You've heard Tony Goodman say that they've almost resolved the challenges. You're using the short code now for those of you who you were not able to verify your details, and so you have to pay out of pocket. I want to hear your experience. 05511-11997. George Jaffe is joining me right now with business. Hello, George. What do you have in the headlines?
Well, events coming up in business. Cedi appreciates by almost 14% against the dollar for the month of October as the local currency continues to respond positively to market interventions by the Bank of Ghana. And Auditor-General submits interim work on claims and commitments submitted by the Finance Minister, Dr. Tuforson, for verification before payments are made. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter's tanks, and Peasant herbal and charcoal. You're welcome back to business on Newsnight. Now, the city has posted one of its highest appreciation against the dollar in a month for this year. In October, it appreciated by almost 14% against the US dollar. Now, there is more in the following report.
The almost 14% appreciation of the cedi against the dollar is based on the Bank of Ghana data from the beginning of the year to the end of October 2025. The cedi's good run in the last quarter of this year has been influenced by significant dollar support for the market by the Bank of Ghana. This is coming under the central bank's revised foreign exchange intervention, which has seen the Bank of Ghana increase the frequency of dollar support for commercial banks. This, for instance, saw the Bank of Ghana support the market with some $1.1 billion last month. The regulator has reviewed at-market support based on some windfall gains coming from rising price of gold on the international market. Sources say the Bank of Ghana is using these inflows to support the market. It has therefore maintained that this market support will not affect Ghana's dollar reserve buildup position under the IMF program. Now, if you track the cedi's performance from the beginning of the year, it has appreciated by more than 34%. The cedi is on course to possibly end the year posting one of its best appreciation against the dollar.
And that is the Business Desk report. Now, exporters have indicated that they would prefer a stable Ghana cedi rather than a sharp appreciation against the US dollar. Now, this was after the cedi hit this record appreciation against the dollar for the month of October, development that has raised concerns about the impact on the earnings of exporters. Davis Kobo is the president of the Federation Association of Ghanaian Exporters.
And for the cedi appreciation, I've said it over and over that I think the most important thing is to be able to have a balance once it's stabilized. That is it's important. We need the cedi to stabilize. Once that is done, then the exporters can plan. So that doesn't really affect our exports. But then if it keeps fluctuating, that is where the issues are. So for us, yes, the city is appreciating against the major currencies, and what we want to see is there should be a balance. And when I talk about balance, there should be some stability at the point, and that is what we're looking at.
Davis Kobo is the president of the Federation Association of Ghanaian Exporters. Now, the Auditor-General has finalized work on what he called interim assessment on claims and commitments submitted by the Finance Minister, Dr. Tuforson, before payments can be made. There is more in the following report.
These were projects carried out under the previous administration. However, the claims and commitment covering these were submitted to the Finance Minister for payment. But the Minister's quest to ensure that there is value for money for all these payments and to assess the impact on the budget deficit were submitted to the Auditor-General for the necessary review. The interim report submitted by the Auditor-General revealed that these were claims relating to works executed and services rendered under various government projects across ministries, departments and agencies nationwide. The Auditor-General went ahead to announce that affected parties have the opportunity to contest or justify their claims by submitting supporting documentation through the relevant institutions of the Ghana Audit Service for final validation. This verification window remains open until 7th November 2025. After the deadline, any arrears or commitments that remain rejected or unverified will be permanently expunged from the government arrears and commitment records.
And that is the Business Desk report. Now, Chief Executive of Vanguard Assurance, Frederick Adotey-Saka, says Vanguard Assurance will continue to prioritize customers by ensuring speedy claims processes with the utmost customer service. Saka explained that with over 5 decades of experience in the industry, the indigenous company will continue to offer innovative solutions to the insuring needs of the insuring public. He spoke at the 50th anniversary of the Vanguard Assurance held in Accra.
50 years in any business, or the life of any business is a long time. It's been 2 generations so far. We are happy with how far we have come. We have come far because of our customers. And this occasion is just to be thankful and grateful to our customers for the support they have given us, for trusting in us, and believing in us to be the insurer of choice. Same way we have been here because of our clients, we want to remain here again for the next 50 years. So it's all about offering value to our clients, being there for them when the unfortunate happens. When a claim crystallizes, it's all about the speed with which the claim is settled. That is not the moment to ask for too many documentations here and there. It's about empathizing with the client and making sure that you meet their needs as early as you can.
Frederick Adotey-Saka is the chief executive of Vanguard Assurance. To the stock market, MTN lost 4 pesos and is now worth 4 Ghana cedis, 16 pesos. Bank also lost 4 pesos. Now, GCB, on the other hand, was up by 53 pesos. So if you're holding its share, it's now valued at 17 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. And that's all for business on News Night.
George, thank you very much. We can do sports now, and Daniel Cranton is here with the latest. Hello, Daniel.
Hi, Evans. Let's go straight into our stories. In Asante Kotoko, they face off against arch rivals Hearts of Folk in the Ghana Premier League this coming weekend. The country's 2 biggest clubs head into the game as the only 2 unbeaten teams in the league this season. As assistant coach for Kotoko, Prince Iyawusu, believes form will not be a determining factor on Sunday.
Yeah, it's something that we all know since our infancy when Hearts and Kotoko meets. It's not who plays well. Anybody can win the game. But for us, we need to prepare very well and meet them. It's not going to be easy for us, and it's not going to be easy for them as well. All the 2 teams are going to go after each other, and the best team will win at the end of the day. But I know these boys will not go out there and disgrace us.
Kotoko assistant coach Prince Iyawusu speaking there. Now, the group stages for the 2025-26 CAF Champions League concluded earlier today with no Ghanaian club making the cut yet again after Ghana Premier League champions Ibuni Gold Stars were knocked out in the first round of qualifying. Head of Player Relations at the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, Yusuf Chipsa, these Ghanaian clubs have a long way to go in order to compete with the continent's best.
If you look at the rate of investment that all these countries have put into into the sport. I mean, we are yet to get there. We have to be honest to ourselves. When Kotoko and maybe Enugu Stars qualified, I was one of the media houses, and I said that it's good that we've qualified, at least because we are a notable football nation. It's good that we've qualified. We should try as much as possible to get into the group stages. But as to winning, we are far, far, far away from winning.
You head of player relations at the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, Yusuf Chipsa. Bring that into sports. Back to you guys.
Daniel, thank you very much. And I'll be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world pretty shortly on WhatsApp. Now, the Ghana Journalists Association is tonight registering its strong objection to the proposed misinformation, disinformation, hate speech and publication of other information bill. Now, government is pushing ahead with the bill and has set a 14 November deadline for the submission of memoranda. Today, at a news conference, the GJA demanded an extension of the consultation period. GJA President Albert Komfo warned that rushing the bill through Parliament without adequate stakeholder engagement will weaponize state power against media and silence critical voices.
Even though the GJA acknowledges the urgent need to stem the rising tide of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech, the association firmly rejects any legislative process that excludes key stakeholders or threatens constitutionally guaranteed freedom of expression, media independence, and the public's right to information. It is troubling that such a far-reaching bill, one that touches the very core of free speech, journalistic practice, and democratic governance, is being pursued without adequate transparency and stakeholder consultation. This approach raises legitimate fears that the legislation, if passed in its current form or through a rush process, could inadvertently weaponize state power against the media and silence critical voices. Even if this current government has no intention of weaponizing such legislation, a subsequent government may. The GJA therefore demands a further extension of the deadline for submitting input to allow for a broad-based, inclusive, and meaningful national dialogue that has the buy-in of all key stakeholders.
Well, he also has concerns about the Cybersecurity Amendment Bill. I want to bring in right now Matthew Nyandami. He's a ranking member on the Communications Committee in Parliament, joins us via Zoom right now. Matthew, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. These two bills, what briefings do you have about them? Where in the process is it?
Thank you, Evans.
Well, unfortunately, we're having a bad connection to
Say
the
hi
Matthew,
to
can you hear me? Okay.
As a committee, we have not. You can hear me?
I can now, yes.
Yes, what I'm saying is that I was just greeting your listeners and putting it on record that as a house or as a committee, we have not officially been engaged by the minister. So these two bills that you are talking about, the misinformation, the amendment bill on cyber security, we have not officially met the minister. But we have seen some of the copies of the bill, which we are all worried about, and we think that we fully support what the DJ is just saying. We fully support whoever want to look into this bill, that we should not rush this kind of bill through Parliament, because in this country we all know how we rush some materials through the House, and it has to do with only numbers. The proper work is not done. And if we look at this misinformation bill, it kills freedom of speech. It criminalizes freedom of speech. The 24 years ago, what we suffered, and Komfo came, and fortunately for all of us, he has decided to remove the criminal libel law. We don't think that as a nation, we should go back 24 years ago. So we sincerely think that the bill is of urgent concern. We must all try as much as possible to take very, very important look at it before we allow such a bill to pass. Else one day we'll all be very, very worried by passing such a bill. I can say that, look, the bill is taking it back 24 years ago, which all of us must speak, especially those of you in the media. Don't leave it for we, the politicians, because after politics, when it becomes too partisan, I can tell you that we'll pass a bill that tomorrow we'll all weep and say that, look, never again should have done what we have done.
I mean, you say you've not been briefed yet officially. I mean, unofficially, have you been? Hello, Matthew. Oh, it appears I may have lost him down the line, Matthew. Matthew Nyandam is a ranking member on the Communications Committee, speaking to us about two bills, controversial bills, being spearheaded by government. He says they've not been officially briefed yet on any of those bills. One had to do with misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and publication of other information. The other has to do with the Cybersecurity Amendment. Both are subject of PM Express conversation. Tonight, you want to join us at 9 p.m. across our social media platforms. It's going to be live on the JoyNews channel, live on Facebook, YouTube, even on myjoyonline.com. We're bringing all the stakeholders together for a conversation on those two bills. And you want to listen in because we're going to be breaking down what the bills will mean to you. Join us at 9 on the JoyNews channel. That's a live your news night on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, President John Mahama is tonight pushing for the creation of a new West African security platform that will bring the three breakaway ECOWAS countries on board in the fight against violent extremism. Currently, those states, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, are not part of the Accra Initiative, which was formed to coordinate West Africa's joint response to terrorism and instability. And the push by the president is coming shortly after we've heard from the U.S. President Donald Trump, who has warned that he was going to send troops into Nigeria on the back of Boko Haram's threat against Christians there. Now, speaking at a joint press conference with the president of Germany, who is in Ghana on a 3-day state visit, President Mahama said the fight against terrorism is not for the Sahelian countries alone, but the sub-regional one.
Continuous dialogue and engagement to be able to resolve some of the mutual challenges that we commonly face. The Accra Initiative was set up as a platform for our joint fight against violent extremism in the West African sub-region. Unfortunately, currently, the AES states are not participating in the Accra Initiative. And so what I've been engaged with is seeking a new platform that can bring them on board, because the fight is not theirs alone. It's a sub-regional fight, because violent extremism is like a cancer. It continues to grow and spread. And so currently we have discussions. I was in Mali a week ago to discuss the issue of a joint platform where we can collaborate to help them, and the international community can assist in the joint fight against violent extremism.
Well, the president of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, says his country, together with the European Union, is supporting the Ghanaian government to create long-term stability and development in the Sahel.
Allow me also to underline, ladies and gentlemen, the role that Ghana plays with regard to regional cooperation in West Africa. And I expressly welcome the fact that you, President Mahama, have assumed responsibility for regional cooperation and integration. We both agree that cross-border challenges like terrorism, transnational organized crime, and climate change too require cross-border responses. And this is just as true in West Africa as it is in Europe. The northern border region of Ghana is a case in point for this common approach. It borders on the central Sahel, which, as we all know, is hard hit by terrorism and instability. Germany, together with the European Union, is supporting efforts of the Ghanaian government that aim at creating long-term stability and development. And Germany has been cooperating closely with Ghana and ECOWAS. I paid a visit to the headquarters of ECOWAS last December, and actually talked about these common challenges, and our objective is to address them together.
That's my cue to take you to the NSMQ. There have been some electrifying contests today in the 2025 National Science and Maths Quiz. Defending champions Ifantapim School, alongside their neighbours St. Augustine's College, have secured their spots in the grand finale, and they're now eagerly awaiting the opponents, who will be determined from a thrilling contest between Achimota, Opokuwari, and St. Peter's SHS. And that last semi-final contest is ongoing at the moment. Let's cross over to the Cape Coast University and speak to my colleague Colin Frimpong, who is joining me via Zoom right now. Colin, give me an update.
Evans, currently the round one just ended here at the SGS auditorium, and guess what? Opokuware school is taking Achimota and St. Peter's to the cleaners. The first round ended with Opokuware having 23 points and Achimota 14, and St. Peter's are just having 4 points in there. And it has been an interesting contest. Opokuware has been able to pick almost all the bonuses that will come their way so far. We have 4 more contests, 4 more rounds to go.
And earlier we had this contest between Fantipem, I believe, and St. Augustine College. How did that go?
So Fantipem contest was the first contest of the day when they came up against Pope John SHS in there, and they also won their contest in there. But the last contest before the Opokuware contest was between St. Augustine's College, and also they came up against that particular contest. Actually was a bit tough in there, and they were actually losing right from round 1, round 2 to round 3, and they were able to secure a comeback in that contest to ensure that they stayed they get their dominance in there and get their third or second consecutive final of the national championship. They are hoping that they will secure their third national championship, and that particular contest was an exciting one in there. But we engaged some of the listeners, and after the contest, this is what they said.
We'll bring that to you. Want to join colleagues who is live there on the ground. You also want to watch our social media platforms for all the reactions coming from the ground there. Many of you join us with your comments on the stories you've heard so far here on Newsnight. This one from Sir in Mamobi says, hey, I'm a Ghana. In fact, all those money need to be retrieved from those entities, and they must be punished for inappropriate misuse of public funds if Ghana is indeed working. Lincoln says MPP is looking for a classmate from the NDC to partner Chairman Wuntumi, and it will not work. This one from Ayuba says, in fact, this too has the suspect the president and the government agenda to fight against Galamsey in a serious country. A reference to the top story brought it today, and says the Lightwave owner's story is not. I'm with a facility that was on that system. There's no data available on the systems at the facilities. I will encourage you to send your teams out there to verify. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Abans Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.